2, 3.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 6. Would like to present about our last topic, validity and reliability. With my group members, Muhammad Moqsith, Azman Suhardiman, Marina, and myself, Nisa Alzana. Next. So this is the subtopic that will be presented by our group, started from understanding validity and reliability, example of validity and reliability, types of validity and reliability, and the last, how to ensure the validity and reliability. Next. Okay, before we come to the material, let me give you an overview about this topic. So, validity and reliability are concepts used to evaluate the quality of the research. They indicate how well a method, technique, or test measures something. So in this case, validity is about the accuracy of measure, where reliability is about the consistency of a measure. Look at the table. I will show you the difference between reliability and validity in a short minute. First, the meaning or definition of them. The first is reliability is the extent to which the results can be reproduced when the research is repeated under the same condition. And validity is the extent to which the results really measure what they are supposed to measure. Second, how is it assessed? In reliability, it can be by checking the consistency of results across time, across different observers, and across parts of test itself. While in validity, by checking how well the result correspond to established theories and other measures of the same concept. Last, is there any relationship between reliability and validity, and how do they relate? So in reliability, a reliable measurement is not always valid. So the results might be reproducible, but they are not necessarily correct. In validity, a valid measurement is generally reliable. If a test produces accurate results, they should be reproducible. That's why reliability and validity are closely related, but they mean different things. A measurement can be reliable without being valid. However, if a measurement is valid, it is usually also reliable. Next will be presented about validity by Muhammad Moqsith.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. Okay, next I will explain the definition of validity. What is validity? Validity refers to how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure. If researcher has high validity, that means it produces results that correspond to real properties, characteristic, and variation in the physical or social world. The example of validity: if the teacher wants to measure the grammar ability, the teacher should give the text in form of written text, not giving oral form of recording to listen. However, validity is harder to assess than reliability, but it is even more important. To obtain useful result, the method you use to collect your data must be valid. The researcher must be measuring what it claims to measure. This is ensure that your discussion of the data and the conclusion you draw are also valid. Okay, thank you. Next will be explained by my friend.
Okay, and the next is about types of validity. So the validity of a measurement can be estimated based on three main types of evidence. So each type can be evaluated through expert judgment or statistical methods. The first type is construct validity. It's about the adherence of measure to existing theory and knowledge of the concept being measured. For example, a self-esteem questionnaire could be assessed by measuring other traits known or assumed to be related to the concept of self-esteem, such as social skills and optimism. So, strong correlation between the score for self-esteem and associated traits would indicate high construct validity. The second is about content validity is the extent to which the measurement covers all aspects of the concept being measured. For instance, a test that aims to measure a class of students' level of Spanish contains reading, writing, and speaking components, but no listening component. So experts agree that listening comprehension is an essential aspect of language ability. So the test lacks content validity for measuring the overall level of ability in Spanish. Last criterion is the extent to which the result of a measure corresponds to other valid measures of the same concept. Example is a survey is conducted to measure the political opinions of voters in a region. If the result accurately predict the later outcome of an election in that region, this indicates that the survey has high criterion validity. Next. Okay, the next is about answering validity. How to answer validity in your research. So the reliability and validity of your result depends on creating a strong research design, choosing appropriate methods, samples, and conducting the research carefully and consistently. If you use scores or ratings to measure variation in something such as psychological traits, levels of ability, or physical properties, it's important that your result reflect the real variation as accurately as possible. So validity should be considered in the very early stage of your research when you decide how we'll collect your data. So the first step is you need to choose appropriate methods of measurement. Ensure that your method and measurement technique are high quality and targeted to measure exactly what you want to know. They should be thoroughly researched and based on existing knowledge. For example, to collect data on a personality trait, you could use a standardized questionnaire that is considered reliable and valid. If you develop your own questionnaire, it should be based on established theory or findings of previous studies, and the question should be carefully and precisely worded. The second is use appropriate sampling methods to select your subjects. So to produce valid generalizable results, clearly define the population you are researching, such as people from a specific age range or profession. So ensure that you have enough participants and that they are representative of the population. So next, the material about reliability will be presented by Marina.
So I will explain about definition reliability. The reliability is the extent to which the result can be reproduced when the reset is repeated under the same condition. Reliability refers to how consistently and method measure something. If the sum result can be consistently advanced by using the same method under the same circumstances, the measurement is considered reliably. And reliability is essentially a synonym for consistent and replicability over time, over instrument, and over group of respondents. An example reliability, you measure the temperature of liquid sample several times under identical conditions. The thermometer display the same temperature every time, so the results are reliable. And the next material will be explained by my friend.
Okay, for the next is types of reliability. There are three types of reliability. The first is test-retest, the consistency of a measure across time. Do you get same result when you repeat the measurement? It means test-retest reliability measure the consistency of result when repeat the same text test on same sample of different endpoint time. Test retest reliability can be used assess how well a method resists this factor over time. The smaller difference between two set of result, the higher the test retest reliability. And for example, a group of participants complete a questionnaire designed to measure personality traits. If they repeat the questionnaire days, weeks, or months apart and give same answer, this indicates high test retest reliability. And the second is iterator. The consistency of a measure across letter or observer. Do you get the same result when different people construct the same measurement? It means test retest it means iterator reliability measure the degree of agreement between different people observing or assessing the same thing. When design the scale and criteria for data collection, it's important to make sure that different people will rate the same variable consistency with minimal bias. This is especially important when there are multiple researchers involved in data collection or analysis. For example, based on the assessment criteria checklist, 5 examiners submit substantially different results for the same student project. This indicates that the assessment checklist has low iterator reliability, such as because the criteria are too subjective. And the third is internal consistency. Internal consistency. Uh, the consistency of measure, the consistency of measure itself. Do you get the same result from different parts of a test that are designed to measure the same thing? It means internal consistency assess the correlation between multiple items in tests that the intended to measure the same construct. For example, if you design a questionnaire to measure self-esteem, If you randomly split the result into two halves, there should be strong correlation between the two set of results. And the next is ensuring reliability. For the first is apply your method consistently. Plan your method carefully to make sure you carry out the same step in the same way for each measurement. This, this is especially important if multiple researchers are involved. For example, if you are conducting in if you are conducting interview or observation, clearly define how specific behaviors or response will be counted, and make sure questions are pressed the same way each time. And the second is standardize the condition of your research. When you collect your data, keep the circumstances as consistent as possible to reduce the influence of external factors that might create variation in the result. For example, in experiment setup, make sure all participants are given the same information and test under same condition or time. Okay, that's all for me. Then I return to the moderator.
Well, thank you so much. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much. If you have questions, write the comment below. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.